I'm diagnosed narcoleptic, and the brain injury comes from when, I want to say when I was probably 11 or 12. I took a very hard blunt object to the front of my face. I actually still have the divot there. And didn't really have symptoms at that time. That was maybe, I want to say 5th, 6th grade. Took a pretty hard hit, and then my freshman year in high school, I took a really hard hit. That was kind of when I first noticed the symptoms of what I guess is narcolepsy, yeah. I actually remember it was like game 4. We're playing Apollo High School, actually funny, Apollo. But I took a big hit during a special teams play, and essentially it was a knockout hit, and I was out from that moment, hospitalized for 3 days for severe concussion symptoms, in which really I don't remember the extent of all 3 days. I just remember parts of being in an ambulance, parts of kind of waking up throughout that night and just feeling extremely sick, foggy, unconcentrated, just in a dark room for a couple of days just to check, in which after that point, I had stopped playing for the rest of the season. I guess when you come from a player's standpoint with concussions, one thing that you learn early, it's not necessarily right or wrong, but I feel like concussions could be on a regular basis if you're not taught right. Fortunately, I actually played here at Cactus High School, and I teach here now, and so I've been really fortunate playing underneath some legendary coaches. And so they taught us how to, when we approach a tackle, to keep our head up and to keep our head out of the play. But you can't control that all the time. And so whenever you get a big ding or you feel kind of like that buzzing sensation, everything kind of fogs out, your head just goes into this big, this headache, and then you kind of just zone out. You kind of learn how to navigate around those symptoms so that coaches don't see it. And so after I lost my first season, I kind of learned, okay, if I ever feel this again, maybe I can personally try to take care of it. And so I incurred a few more concussions throughout high school, but I would say my coaches never really knew about it because I just kind of went about it in a way of not telling people, which now when I think about that, because now going to the coach side of things, whenever I see kids who have those symptoms, you do everything you can to make sure that student athletes are safe. So, we're trained a little bit more, 10 years later to kind of spot those symptoms that kids might be hiding or not hiding, and they're not aware of it, and, appropriately report it. Repeated trauma to the brain is really what we're trying to prevent here at the high school, college, NFL level. After occurring so many of those concussions, you really start to think and ponder and really contemplate what is the physical toll I'm taking on my brain, and where does that leave me from a mental capacity standpoint. I know personally for myself, that's one thing I do worry about, especially with all the studies that have come out about traumatic brain injury from the NFL and the clinical studies you read and you see all this stuff in the news. Is I'm worried if, maybe I'll have these symptoms later in life in which I'll be incapacitated, won't be able to, function the way I do now. So yeah, it's a scary thing. Especially, it's one thing to know about it, it's another thing to go through it and see the information now and understand that that's an actual probable outcome for me when I hit my 50s or 60s. Brain Injury Alliance, I think it's a very vital and important resource here in Arizona because it's honestly, we have to protect our future. Our future, especially from a teacher standpoint, is our student athletes. We want them to be able to leave high school with all the tools necessary to be successful, but at the same time, we got to protect our kids. That's why they come to us, and as a coach, you have to take that personally and with pride that first and foremost, their health comes first. To be able to donate or, in any sense of way, support such an alliance is incredible because a lot of people, whether they believe it or not, brain injuries happening throughout all platforms of sports, whether it's wrestling, football, basketball, hitting the dead card, you name it. And it could have long-lasting implications on someone's life, such as myself. So great cause.